What's up, everybody? It's Glenn and Big Jack back with another edition of the best bets of the NFL weekend video, week 8 of the NFL season. We hope you guys faded us last week because the show overall went 0-6. Each of us going 0-3. If you tuned in to last week's episode, and you actually paid attention, you will also know that I liked all of Jack's picks, and I had a seventh pick, which would have also been a loser. So that if that doesn't tell you the state of the show, I don't know what will. Jack, we got to figure out how to right the ship this week.
Yeah, nothing positive to say. I'm now 6-14-1
Yep.
through 7 weeks, which is laughable to say the least. So at this point, it's going to be an absolute grind to even sniff anywhere near 500, unfortunately. But grind we will. And there's only one way to go, and hopefully it's up and uh, dig out of the basement a little bit.
Yeah,
You're
no
still
doubt
above
about it.
500 though, despite the 0-3 week. You're still not in a horrible spot overall.
Yeah, it does suck to just throw away the 3-0 week I had the year before, the week before, excuse me.
Mm.
But yeah, 11-10 on the season. Just got to right the ship here. I'm just looking for a 2-1. It's kind of all you can do. So, with that being said, let's get into the picks. My first pick of the week, um, it's with a team that the Bears blew out a few weeks ago. But I like them this week at home versus the Green Bay Packers, and I like the Jacksonville Jaguars +4. Packers are no doubt a better team, but I think a lot of times when those teams from up north have to go to the warmer weather, start getting around this time of year, it's a little bit tough. I also feel like Jacksonville's getting a little bit right. Um, the one thing that does worry me is they were just in London for 2 games, but that being said, at least they just get to go home. Jacksonville +4. That's gonna be my first pick of the week. I feel like Green Bay's kind of a sucker bet this week, and maybe you feel differently, but and we're not. Obviously, we haven't been very sharp, but Jacksonville +4 is what I like.
Yeah, I can dig it. The only, I don't know. I agree. I don't know about at this point in the year how much of a difference of that Green Bay traveling down to Florida type, team being used to acclimated to certain weather and then going down into the heat. I don't know if it'll be a crazy difference this week compared to, maybe
In a
say
month.
2, 3,
Yeah.
4 weeks from now. Certainly something to factor in. But, I like the pick in general. The Packers they're winning games, credit to them. I still think Matt LaFleur is a great coach. I don't believe in Jordan Love at all. He is, one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, in my opinion, and not even my opinion necessarily, just if you look at any analytics that truly matter, and bear themselves out over the course of time, his completion percentage versus expected, he's only better than Bryce Young, Tyler Huntley, and like some other absolute bum. Like he has been horrendous this entire season. He's already almost thrown the same amount of interceptions that he threw the entire rookie season for him. Not his rookie year, but his first year as a starter. He's having some wild regression. And I don't know if that's going to get any better anytime soon. It might just be who he is. We'll see. Hopefully that's who he is for Bears fans like us. Um, but I like the pick. Jacksonville coming back. They looked, pretty solid against the Patriots. And I don't know. I think they're a team that's probably hearing a lot of the things that have been said about him. I'm sure Trevor Lawrence is hearing a lot of the chatter about how he doesn't deserve the contracts and all the flowers he's been given to this point in his career. But yeah, catching 4 at home, I never think that's a bad pick by any stretch. And fuck the pack. Um, I'm going to take my first pick. I'm also going to take a home dog going off of the that note I just had about the team that the Jacksonville Jaguars handled last week. I'm going to take the Patriots at home. They're +7. Also traveling back from London, which is, a little wrinkle for sure, but I don't know, man. The Jets are just all over the place. I don't know what to think of that team. Part of me still thinks that there's plenty of time for them to get it together and still be a playoff type team down the stretch. Their schedule actually softens quite a bit, where they could be one of those teams who makes a run, especially with the added playoff spot, getting those 7 teams from each conference in. Um, and I don't think the Patriots are going to necessarily find a way to win the game, but Drake May's been solid, especially considering the burning house around him. Um, the only two drafted ahead of him are obviously both look to be hopefully perennial studs in the league, and Jaden Daniels and our guy Caleb Williams. But those guys are just in significantly better situations. Drake May is sort of stuck in that very typical high end quarterback draft pick where you're just going into a complete shitstorm, and that's exactly what it's been. But he's contorted himself pretty well. I like what he's done. I like the way he looks. I like what he can do with his legs when plays do break down. He's a pretty athletic kid, and he rips it, man. He's thrown a couple picks, and that's what rookies are going to do, and that's what aggressive quarterbacks in general are going to do. He doesn't seem like he's scared to throw the football. I don't know, and I just think the Jets are reeling a little too much to be able to get right spot where they're going to win by more than a touchdown. So I'll take the Patriots +7.
Yeah, I like 7 points at home. I like everything you're saying. I'm curious to see Drake May play a little bit more. I did recently subscribe to NFL Plus, where I can go back and watch all the all 22s as I want. Curious to actually go back and watch a little bit of Drake May film. I wouldn't mind doing that. The way they chop it up, you can watch these games pretty quickly too. No, not to plug the NFL Plus situation, but yeah, I
We could use a sponsor though.
the NFL, if you want to sponsor us, it'd be great. But but yeah, I like your logic there. I like the 7 points. I like them at home. We'll see how it goes. All right, next pick I have um, Carolina Panthers have only kept 2 of their games this year. One of them was an outright winner, but they've only kept 2 games this year within that 11-point marker, which they're 11-point dogs going to Denver. I'm going to take Denver, even though I think it's kind of a square pick. I just think Carolina is that fucking bad, and I got to take advantage of it while I can. Denver -11 is my pick. It's really just going off how bad I think the Panthers are. And I think the Broncos have proven that they've been kind of a solid team. My first thought was like, are they really blowing anybody out with Bo Nix being a rookie quarterback? I went back and looked at the results. There's some games where they're beating some teams by like 14, 17 points. So they can absolutely do that to the Panthers. I like them at home. Carolina's really bad. They can pull away from some of these teams. Denver -11. It's a lot of points, but Carolina fucking sucks. That's my second pick.
Yeah, I got nothing bad to say about it. Actually, probably the only good thing I've done this year was kind of probably in week 2 or 3. I sort of said that, because I was on the Broncos early in the season, and I kind of mentioned how I think they're just going to be a pretty competitive team throughout the course of the year. I think Sean Payton, he got rid of Russell Wilson, moved on from that situation and sort of is making everything in the image and likeness that he wants it to be now. And they're competitive, man. I don't know how good Bo Nix is going to be over the long term, but he's played a lot of football for a rookie, and he's doing enough to not lose games. And that defense is just good. They
Yeah.
really are. So going off of that, like I don't know how Bryce Young, who got benched for a veteran Andy Dalton, is gonna 3, 4 weeks later, whatever it's been, suddenly flip the switch and like be able to compete. I don't know. I don't see it. So yeah, I'm not on the not on the Broncos because that would be just the way that the universe works. Is after
Yeah.
being on the Panthers 2 weeks in a row, I fade them and they finally cover. But yeah, I got nothing bad to say about that pick, and I like that it's at Denver, always a tough place to play. My next pick, I'm going to turn to the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to take a -3 at Seattle. Seattle looked pretty damn good, kind of putting a beat down on the Falcons. But Seattle's been weirdly, maybe not weirdly, I don't know what their trend is over the last, year or so, but they've been getting beat up at home. They lost to the Niners at home most recently on that Thursday night game. They got pushed around. You were actually on the Giants, who were like 9-point dogs, and they beat them outright. Kind of bullied by them in their own building. I'd be a little worried about that trip across the country, but they're playing in the later window. I think they'll be. I think Buffalo's going to be ready to play. They're -3. I think it's an attractive line for bettors to see the way that Seattle just sort of handled Atlanta, and they're getting 3 points at home. They're leading. They're sitting atop the NFC West right now. So they've been a competitive team, certainly. And, their head coach has obviously got some familiarity with the Bills coming as a defensive coordinator in Baltimore. So I'm sure he'll scheme up a decent game plan, but I just don't know if the Seahawks, and I just don't know if the NFC in general is at the level that some of these teams in the AFC are. And I don't know. I like the Buffalo Bills to win by at least a field goal, so I'll take them -3.
It's a game I looked at. I'm having a tough time figuring out where the Bills' good spots are and where they're not. Um, it's just how I feel right now in the season. Um, if I were to pick a side in this game, it would be the Bills. I will say I kind of liked the over in this game too for anybody at home. It's at 45 and a half. The Seahawks can throw the ball. So I wouldn't be shocked to see them do some things offensively. But yeah, I think I like the Bills in this game for sure. But I'm not on that game. And with that said, I'll go to my last pick. Um, I like the Colts +5 at the Houston Texans. That's my last pick of the weekend. Colts are playing every game close this year, win or lose, in a lot of tight games. Shane Steichen's a good coach. I truly believe that. I think the Colts stay tight in this one. I think there's a chance they could win a divisional game. I think it stays tight either way. Houston also, I think they just what just happened between them and Green Bay? They just lose a heartbreaker in Green Bay. They
They
lost
lost a
by two.
they lost a very close game where Green Bay somehow won, even
Yeah,
though Jordan Love's numbers were gross.
yeah. So they just lost a tight game in Green Bay. I think they come home. Um, you know, I think the game. I just think the game's going to be tight. I don't see a world where Houston blows them out. I think Indy could maybe pull out the outright win. Indy +5. They need it if they want to try to compete for this division. Indy +5. That's my third pick of the week.
Yeah, I like that pick a lot. I like Indy a lot. I don't know if they should be starting Richardson over Joe Flacco, honestly. But they're still finding ways to, last week was his first game back. They still got it done against the Dolphins. And yeah, like you said, they're competitive all year. They played Houston tight in their own building week one, kind of came down to the wire in that game. And similarly to some of the things I said about Jordan Love, CJ Stroud has been sophomore slump times a billion. I know their record is what it is, but it ain't because of the way he's playing. And
It's that
last year
defense, man.
yeah, last year he's, very similarly, he started pretty slow in his rookie year. He was kind of very pedestrian to bad the first 4, 5, 6 weeks of the year. So maybe it's similar this year. Maybe he gets it going and starts lighting it up again because his rookie season was something to behold. Um, but yeah, I can dig that pick for sure. And I said at the start of the year I picked the Colts to win that division. So them covering
I
and
think
winning
I picked
outright
the
would go
Jags.
would go a long way to that. Yeah, we could erase that, strike that from books.
Hey, season's not over. A lot of football left.
Amen. Amen. All right, my last one. I'm getting ugly here. Team that's probably rolling just as good as anybody, if not better than anybody right now. I'm going to go against the Ravens. I'm going to take the Cleveland Browns at home +8. It's a big number at home. The Browns suck. I think that this Jameis Winston is a little bit of addition by subtraction with Deshaun Watson going down. As bad as Deshaun Watson had been this year, he actually was playing decent before he got hurt in that particular game. So maybe they were finding a little something with the offense. I don't know. Jameis Winston's an absolute roller coaster ride. I just know that defense over the past, year and a half, 2 years, they're a lot better at home than they are on the road. They're in their own building. It's a divisional game. You're giving me 8 points in a divisional game. I don't know. I don't feel super great about it, but I shouldn't feel great about any of my picks because I lose just about every single one of them. So, it's as confident as I guess I'm going to get myself to be given the record. But I don't know. I think they find a way to keep it close. I don't see um, the Ravens winning by more than a touchdown. So I'll take the 8.
I I don't believe in the Ravens big picture, but something about them in the regular season, I'm starting to accept the fact that they're a tough regular season team. I'll be rooting for you, Big Jack. I'll be telling you. I don't know if I agree with the logic on this one. Um, Baltimore's putting up points offensively, and I just don't know if Cleveland will be able to keep up with it. But to your point, maybe that defense shows up, plays tough at home. We'll see. Divisional game, like you said. All right, those are the 6 picks. Just a quick recap. I'm on Jacksonville +4 at home versus Green Bay, Denver -11 at home versus Carolina, and Indianapolis +5 at the Houston Texans. Jack is on New England +7 at home versus the New York Jets. Then Buffalo -3 at the Seattle Seahawks, and Cleveland +8 at home versus the Baltimore Ravens. Jack, hit it for him one time.
Mm, Bears.
Like and subscribe.